All right, it's Tuesday, September 5th. This is an end of the day SPY recap, and today on the daily chart, we end up with a bit of a two-down red bar, a little follow-through from that broadening action on Friday where we made a higher and a low, closed a little bit red, followed through lower, but didn't really get much continuation today for kind of day trading opportunities, although, the bias was always down. We never crossed above the midpoint of the prior day, and there were a couple of opportunities to try to get short. The first one was a break even. The second one was a small gain. If you look at the structure on the day, essentially the first bar, pre-market range between the blue lines, first bar opened down. Then we kind of paused a little bit nicely here. There was a good 5-minute reversal here to kind of anticipate taking out the low of the first bar. That was the first shorting opportunity. I shot a video showing how I scaled out down here. And then set up a no-risk trade, and then once it came back, I kind of broke it. Or no, I didn't scale out. I was trying to scale out right as it was heading towards its first target, and I didn't get it, so I had to kind of break even. So there wasn't, but you had time. I mean, you had almost close to 45 minutes of watching it. So that's why, if you didn't get at that point, you expected it to kind of break through your target here. And since it didn't, that's why I broke even. Then I shot a video how I kind of bought some more puts up here, anticipating just higher highs and lower lows on a shorter time frame as we still have the downward bias, and how you had one push down, pause, second push down, and there were opportunities to have a small gain on this trade. Obviously, then the market then came up, and now it's coming down to close the day. So, it's just kind of it really, most of the day is just inside of this first bar, just range bound. So now you have kind of an actionable signal to the upside, but we're going to have to let price action, it would be the 3, 2 down, 2 up, but we got to start kind of above the midpoint of that bar and then head higher above whatever pre-market range. That'll be kind of anticipating an actionable signal, the 2 up, and then that can start getting back to those highs. If not, then we continue a little lower. There's still some targets here to be taken out on the downside. There's still a move into this gap area that I discussed, and as long as we can still pull back, above this yellow line here and still maintain an overall uptrend once we get a reversal, the yellow line being kind of the midpoint of the week. So we just kind of opened up inside of last week. We can still hold the midpoint of that and eventually turn up. I'm still waiting for that at the moment, only because the monthly chart still has kind of a hammer bar here that looks like it wants to follow through higher. But for the moment, we're red heading lower, and until we really have anything that approaches now the open of the month and turns that green, we have to kind of have the continuity, to the downside in the short run and just kind of see how things unfold. But until we really fail on this weekly chart, then any buy signals that develop are going to be somewhat powerful the way I see it. But for now, you just got to be biased to the downside with the red month, the red week, and the red day at the moment. And that's why, at least if nothing else, you're biased to the downside. Once it didn't follow through on the first move of the day, then you're kind of looking for liquidity to be taken out before it rolls over to the downside. And that's kind of what developed here all day. It wasn't easy to trade, but understanding price action, and all the context involved with the various time frames, the short side was the way to be, and as it turns out, it's just more of a choppy day today. So we'll see what unfolds tomorrow. The actionable signals to the upside, but if we don't get that, we'll kind of see if it takes out liquidity, and at that point, either build some momentum to maybe have a much weaker, red bar than you would expect, or can it just not follow? If it just continues not to follow through much, then we'll be looking for upward action at some point in the future. So let's see how it goes tomorrow.